Hi, kindergarten teachers. This is just a little review of Unpacking Standards, and it'll also give you a little bit more practice in the kindergarten extension manual, looking not just at the standards for science, but also the standards for English language arts. So the goals for this short screencast is to use the kindergarten extension manual and to understand how to unpack the standards. So what is a standard? We've reviewed that standards are what students should know and be able to do. So our guide is that extension manual. If you look at page 2 in your standards extension manual, you will see how it is outlined. We are just paying attention to the blue and the green. For now, the focus standards and the supporting standards. So again, the focus standards are the priority standards that outline the cross-cutting skills and the knowledge which the students must be proficient in. And then you have the supporting standards. These are the standards that build on those proficiency standards. So why do we unpack standards? Well, it's really going to help us be clear about what we are teaching because these standards are so confusing at times. There's so much language in them. So we're really taking them apart and really being able to see those nouns and the verbs so that we can understand what we are teaching and what those skills are, what those essential skills are really about. So we could do a travel analogy where we're unpacking things, and when we unpack our suitcases, we're taking everything out, we're taking it apart. So here we see where we have our standards, again, the focus standards, supporting standards, and here I'm looking at the kindergarten English language arts standards. So this is a graphic organizer that you can find in the back of your kindergarten extension manual. This also helps you unpack, and if you have other kindergarten teachers, you might want to do this with each other, or you just might want to help unpack the standards for the other content areas, and it's a good way to practice. So here you can see again what students need to know and be able to do are concepts, and skills are the nouns. What our students must be able to do are the skills, are the verbs. And that's really what we're going to be focusing on today. So if we look at an example where we see over here our standard. Students knows and applies grade level phonic and word analysis skills in decoding words. We know that standard. We do that all the time in kindergarten. So here is the concept. Letter sound correspondence for consonants, long and short sounds with common spellings, high frequency words, similar words, sounds of letters. Here are the skills. Demonstrates, producing, associates, reads, distinguishes, identifying. Where am I getting that? These are the nouns and the verbs. That's all here in our supporting standards. So how does this help us? Well, now we know we can demonstrate long and short sounds. We can read long and short sounds. We can distinguish between high-frequency words and sounds of letters. We can identify long and short sounds. So you can see how we are really taking this apart. Here, let's do another example. Here is our focus standard. A student identifies key ideas and details in literature. And then we see with prompting and support, asks and answers questions about details in text, retells familiar stories, identifies characters. So here we have the concepts, and then we have the skills, the verbs, asks, answers, retells, identifies. So we are asking about the key details. We are asking about familiar stories. We are asking about characters, asking about setting, asking about major events, answering and retelling key details, familiar stories, key details, characters, setting, major events. So you can see how there are so many different ways and different lessons and different activities and different ways to assess the standard. Let's take a look at another example. Here you can see again in English language arts, student identifies, compares, and contrasts features in informational text. We do that all the time in kindergarten. But what does that mean? What are the details? What are we actually doing? We're distinguishing between illustrations and text. We're identifying things that are real and imaginary. So again, you can see all the concepts, the nouns, and the skills, the verbs. These are what students need to do by the end of kindergarten. This is what we are assessing and monitoring progress in kindergarten. These are the skills, the standards. So now you can either work in pairs or you can just work by yourself, and you can stop this video. Here is your standard. The student analyzes the author's craft and structure in literature. Use the standards unpacking template that's in the back of your standards extension manual. So you can stop this right now, and then I will continue. So here you can see the answer. Here are the nouns, the concepts. Look how many concepts are identified in that one standard or that supporting standard. And look at all these skills. Did you get them right? So what are all the benefits of unpacking standards? Again, we talked about just getting that clarity around the standards, knowing what to teach. What should students know and be able to do, and really breaking down these standards to the essential knowledge and essential skills.